Did you know that there's a type of quail that weighs less than an apple and another that can survive in the wild west deserts? Quail are full of surprises, and in this video, we're diving deep into the top 8 quail breeds that you've probably never heard of. But don't just stick around for the facts. By the end, you'll learn an incredible secret about quail eggs that might just make you want to raise these fascinating birds yourself. Quick disclaimer. The links I share are affiliate links. I make a small commission on qualifying purchases at no extra cost to you. So let's jump into it. Let's start small, really small, with the button quail. Now, when I say small, I mean tiny. These guys are about the size of a golf ball. Native to Southeast Asia, they were once kept by emperors as living decorations in their palaces. How fancy is that? Today they've become popular with homesteaders, but not exactly for their practicality. Now, if you're thinking about getting button quail, here's the deal. They're not the kind of bird you raise for food, they're too tiny for meat. And their eggs? Well, they're adorable, but so small you'd need a handful to make a decent omelette. But what they lack in practicality, they make up for in low maintenance. These little guys are easy to care for, and they can even help clean up spilled feed around your yard, almost like living lawnmowers. But don't expect to cuddle with them. Button quail are shy and a bit flighty. Think of them as the cool, quiet neighbours that keep to themselves but make your garden look great. Fun fact, their eggs can hatch in just 16 days, and they've got some impressive flight bursts for such little birds, making them fantastic escape artists. So, if you're looking for something low-key but pretty to look at, button quail might be your choice. But we're just getting started. Wait till you hear about some of the meatier options coming up. Next up is a quail with a bit more substance, the bobwhite quail, famous for its cheerful bobwhite call. If you live in North America, you've probably heard these birds out in the wild. But did you know they've been a staple for homesteads and game hunting for centuries? Now, bobwhites are a dual-purpose bird, meaning they're good for both meat and eggs. And unlike our shy little button quail friends, bobwhites are hearty and resilient. They can handle a range of weather conditions, which is a huge plus if you live somewhere with unpredictable seasons. Here's where it gets interesting though. Bobwhites are social birds and like to roam, so you'll need more space to keep them happy. And while their bobwhite call might sound cute at first, trust me, after a while it can get repetitive. But hey, that's just part of their charm. The reason homesteaders love them? Tender meat and their natural instinct to control pests. They're basically a 2-for-1 deal. Also, they're easily breedable, which means if you're looking to grow your flock, bobwhites make it easy. Oh, and did I mention they're monogamous? Pretty rare for quail. They're like the romantic couple of the quail world, always sticking together. You've got to admire their loyalty. All right, now we're talking about a true powerhouse in the quail world, the Coturnix quail. If you've heard of any quail breed before, it's probably this one, and for good reason. These birds are native to Europe, Asia and Africa, and they've been farmed for thousands of years. Why are they so popular? Well, these guys are like the quail equivalent of a chicken. They're super productive. A single Coturnix hen can lay up to 300 eggs a year. That's almost an egg a day. Not only are they fantastic egg producers, but they're also quick to grow, reaching full maturity in just 6 to 8 weeks. So if you're looking to raise quail for both eggs and meat, Coturnix is the way to go. But here's where it gets even better. Ancient Egyptians were all about Coturnix quail eggs. That's right, these birds were considered a delicacy in ancient times, and they're still prized for their rich, delicate flavour today. Of course, no bird is perfect. Coturnix can be a bit messy. These guys are known for scattering their feed everywhere, and they're sensitive to extreme temperatures. But with a little care, they're some of the most productive and versatile birds you can raise. And who doesn't want to be part of a tradition that dates back to ancient Egypt? Now, for something a little flashier, let's talk about the king quail, also known as the blue-breasted quail. These guys are like the peacocks of the quail world, with their vibrant blue and brown plumage. Native to Australia and Southeast Asia, they've earned their royal title with their striking appearance. King quail are another small breed, much like the button quail, but their beauty makes them a popular choice for ornamental purposes. If you're looking for a bird that'll bring some life and colour to your homestead, this is your guy. But here's the catch. They're not great if you're hoping for eggs or meat. King quail are more for show than for sustenance. They're also a bit skittish and shy, so don't expect them to be as interactive as some of the other breeds. Think of them as the fancy art in your home. You don't touch it, but it sure is nice to look at. Despite that, they're pretty quiet and don't require much space, so they're ideal if you're looking for a low-noise, low-maintenance addition to your flock. Now, let's head west to meet the California quail, the state bird of California. You can't miss these guys with their distinctive curved plume of feathers that almost looks like a fancy hat sitting on top of their head. Native to the Pacific coast, these quail are both wild and domesticated, thriving in both worlds. California quail are quite hardy and can adapt to a wide range of environments, which makes them perfect for homesteaders in various climates. But unlike the prolific coturnics, California quail are a bit more slow to breed and not as productive when it comes to egg laying. They're more suited to those who appreciate their unique appearance and their ability to forage for insects. Now here's something fun. California quail have a call that sounds like they're saying Chicago. It's a sound you'll quickly become familiar with if you raise these birds. They also form coveys or small social groups when they're in the wild, which is just adorable to watch. Next up is the mountain quail, the largest of the quail species and native to the western United States. These birds thrive in mountainous areas, which is how they got their name. They're quite elegant with their long tail feathers, and their ability to navigate steep terrain is nothing short of impressive. Mountain quail are definitely hardy, which is why they do so well in rugged environments. If you're raising them, you'll love how they're natural foragers. They'll hunt down their own food, which means less work for you. However, these birds are a bit more difficult to keep in captivity. They need space, and their breeding can be tricky, so they're better suited for experienced quail keepers. Interesting tidbit. These quail have the longest tail feathers of any quail species, and they can even migrate if food becomes scarce. They're built for survival, no doubt about it. Now let's journey to the deserts of the southwest to meet the Gamble quail. These birds are desert survivors, thriving in the extreme heat of the southwestern United States and Mexico. If you're someone who lives in a hot, dry environment, this might just be the perfect quail for you. Gamble quail are incredibly adaptable and don't need much in the way of maintenance. They're foragers, so they'll happily find their own food if you let them roam. Plus, they've got this gorgeous reddish-brown plumage and a plume on top of their head that makes them stand out. One thing to note, though, they're not the best egg layers. If you're raising them for eggs, you might want to look at another breed. But if you're after meat and insect control, Gamble quail are a solid choice. Finally, we have the scaled quail, also known as the blue quail because of their unique scale-like feather pattern. Native to the desert grasslands of the southwestern United States and northern Mexico, these birds are tough and resilient, just like their desert cousins. Scaled quail are great for meat, but not so much for eggs. If you're raising quail to feed your family, these birds are a solid pick. They're also fast, able to sprint up to 15 miles per hour to escape predators. And when they call, it sounds like a raspy bark, which is definitely not what you'd expect from a bird. Now, let's talk about the hidden gem of raising quail, their eggs. Quail eggs might be smaller than chicken eggs, but don't let that fool you. They're richer, creamier, and absolutely packed with nutrients like vitamin B12 and iron. Plus, they've got a flavour that many describe as buttery. Before you go all in on raising quail, I highly recommend you try some quail eggs first. You can usually find them at local markets or even order them online. I will put a link in the description in case you would like to give them a try. Trust me, once you try them, you might never go back to regular chicken eggs again. Quail each with their own unique perks and quirks. Now it's your turn to decide, are quail the right addition to your homestead? If you want to know which animals are the worst to start with as a beginner, click this video and we can save you a lot of troubles.